you paying attention at all to 3i Atlas? Are you watching
the comet?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I can say is like, look, if I was aware of any evidence of aliens, Joe, you have my word. I will come on your show, and I will reveal it on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal.
I believe you. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
I'll stick. I keep my promises. So,
all right.
Yeah,
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
And
I'm never committing suicide. To be clear.
I don't think you would either.
On camera, guys, I am never committing suicide. Ever.
If someone says you committed suicide, I will fight tooth and nail.
Thank you.
I will fight tooth and nail.
You.
I will not believe it. I will not believe it. The thing about the 3i Atlas is
that's a hell of a
weird.
name, actually.
Yeah, it's a third.
It sounds like Third Eye or something.
Yeah, it does. 3i is third. It's only the third interstellar object that's detected.
Okay.
Avi Loeb was on the podcast a couple days ago talking about it.
Yeah, it could be aliens. I don't know, but
apparently today they're saying that it's changed course. Did you see that, Jamie? Avi Loeb said something today. I'll send it to you. It's fascinating. It's fascinating also because it's made almost entirely of nickel, whatever it is. And the only way that exists here is industrial alloys, apparently.
There are definitely comets and asteroids that are made primarily of nickel. In fact,
really?
Yeah. So the places where you mine nickel on Earth is actually where there was an asteroid or comet that hit Earth that was a nickel-rich. Nickel-rich.
Right.
But that's where the sources of nickel and cobalt are these days.
So this is Avi Loeb. A few hours ago, the first hint of non-gravitational acceleration, that something other than gravity is affecting its acceleration, meaning something is affecting its trajectory beyond gravity, was indicated. Interesting. Dun, dun, dun. So it's mostly nickel, very little iron, which he was saying is on Earth only exists in alloys. But whatever, you're dealing with another planet.
There are cases where there's very nickel-rich asteroids, meteorites that have it
for something from space.
Yeah, it's only it doesn't mean it'll be a very sort of heavy spaceship if you make it all out of nickel.
Oh yeah. And fucking huge, the size of Manhattan and all nickel. That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's a heavy spaceship.
That's a real problem if it hits.
Yes. No, it would like obliterate a continent type of thing. The thing is, like in the fossil record, there are, there's like arguably 5 major extinction events. Like the biggest one of which is the Permian extinction, where almost all life was eliminated. That actually occurred over several million years. There's the Jurassic. I think Jurassic is. I think that one's pretty definitively an asteroid. But there's been 5 major extinction events. But what they don't count are really the ones that merely take out a continent. So
merely,
yeah, because those don't really show up on the fossil record,
Right.
So unless it's enough to cause a mass extinction event throughout Earth, it doesn't show up in a fossil record that's 200 million years old. But there have been many impacts that would have sort of destroyed all life on, let's say half of North America or something like that. There are many such impacts through the course of history.
Yeah, and there's nothing we can do about it right now.
Yeah, there was one that one that hit Siberia and destroyed, I think, a few hundred square miles.
Oh, that's the Tunguska.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one from the 1920s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that coincides with that comet storm that we go through every June and every November that they think is responsible for that Younger Dryas impact. Yeah. All that shit's crazy.
Hopefully it all comes out and people can legally talk about it at some point. But
can you talk about it without?
I know there's been multiple contact events. Like
coordinated
straight up contact events. One of them is revealed in the film, actually, but there are more. There was several of the people in my film talk about an event that happened at Hallerman Air Force Base where 2 non-human crafts approached the base, 1 landed, beings walked out and interacted with Air Force officials and CIA officials. And a couple people go on the record talking about that in the film. But there have been other events, I've been told.
How are those beings described?
They were described as tall, slender, humanoid. And the another thing that I heard that gave me chills was that someone involved with a recovery interacted with a non-human being that was dying and heard thoughts in his head that said, you humans don't know your full potential. And that was said to me by a very senior, older guy from the intelligence community. And I thought that was pretty incredible. Also, just the extent to which the legacy program is real. This isn't like 50 guys, sitting in a quiet, dark room. You're talking about a massive program with thousands of people going to work every day and dealing with this. And to me, that is mind-blowing, Yeah. The other father at your kid's Little League game.
Yeah.
This is what he deals with, right? The fact that is a thing. Yeah. And we had a similar dynamic for the Manhattan Project. There were all these people working on it, and they kept it secret, right? And their neighbors and friends didn't know. But this is that on steroids. So, after the Manhattan Project, which was had a budget in the billions, this situation arose, and it had to be even more secret than the Manhattan Project, because the Manhattan Project, we found out in hindsight, leaked, right? There were moles.
Right.
So we needed to make this even more secret and give it more money and more resources and more counter intel.
And more threats.
Which is counter intel, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, threats if you reveal those secrets. But it's like the more this stuff gets discussed, the more I go back to what Lazar said. Because what Lazar is describing from the 1980s is exactly what these people are saying now. They've had these things. They've been trying to figure them out. They've been working on them. At least in the 1980s, they hadn't totally cracked it yet. But they did know how to operate them, and that they would do these tests. But everything was so compartmentalized. He said he wasn't allowed to talk to the metallurgist. There was different people that were assigned to it.
Yeah.
What they were assigned to do was to try to figure out how the propulsion system worked.
Yeah.
And then there was other people that were assigned to try to figure out how the metallurgy was formed. Because whatever it was seemed like it was 3D printed. It didn't have any seams.
Yeah.
And when he talks about it, it sounds exactly like what people are talking about today, which is really bananas.
Yeah. Everything is so, in that secret program, everything is so siloed out, where you could have one team of defense contractors working on one thing. They're not even told it's from an alien spacecraft. They're just told, here's the thing. It might be Russia. It might be China. Tell us how it works.
Right.
They're just kept in a little bubble. And one of the issues now is that everything's become so overclassified and so siloed that it's actually hurting progress. And that's a lot of the scientists in my film are voicing that. And one of the other things I learned recently that isn't in the film, Jay Stratton, who ran the UAP task force, he told me that during that time he had started a talk with one of the senior scientists at Lockheed, who was frustrated by how overclassified everything was. It even made it hard for the defense contractors to get the right manpower and brains on it, because not everyone can be cleared to do the work, right? There's all these red tape hurdles to progress, right? And so they had made a plan to move one of the crafts that had been recovered that was in Lockheed's possession into the possession of the UAP task force. And then the task force was going to be able to put more brain power towards it. And then the head of science and technology at the CIA shut it down in the middle of the transfer. They had actually secured a hangar on a military base and prepped it to be a classified hangar that would hold this craft, and they were stopped. The CIA shut the whole transaction down, and the craft stayed in Lockheed's possession. And then that particular leader within Lockheed died about 2 years later. So the effort kind of stopped. Cancer. The overclassification is definitely a hurdle for this. And our competitors don't necessarily have that. There's no free will in China. She can just be like, hey, you're the smartest guy graduating your class. You're going to go work for the nation on this,
Right, period.
And here, the problem is no one knows it's real. One of the things I hope the film changes is it makes the scientific community know that this is a valid area of inquiry. This is real. It's a real situation. And there's a ton of problems for the next generation of engineers and scientists to solve, And so hopefully it inspires them and helps us make progress, because there's a lot of progress that could be made here.
One of the things that you guys propose in the film that I think may be the only way forward is some sort of a mass amnesty to all these people that did lie to Congress and probably misappropriated funds and maybe stole a little bit here and there. If that doesn't happen, no one is going to push to make this public. No one's going to push for actual full disclosure. because it leaves them too exposed. And if they do have the kind of power that they must have to be running an organization of thousands of people working on something with unbelievable amounts of money being transferred to these programs, they don't want to let that go.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, it's a honeypot that they're drawing from, right? And they're probably still taking too much, or there's no oversight. You're still lying to Congress. You'd have to have some national security amnesty program saying, look, in the interest of national security, it's critically important that we get all of our best people working on this. The only way we're ever going to really do that is to completely reveal that this is actually really happening. This is real crafts from somewhere or something. We have them. We'll tell you where we have them. And I think right now, people wouldn't even freak out, because I would think that people would freak out if there was some sort of official narrative of disclosure. But that's sort of been breached, right? The New York Times breached that in 2017.
I think this film is that. I mean, this is
film
34 credible people putting their reputation and name on the line, which I honestly, Joe, I think it's stronger evidence than any video or photo. These days, you could put a 4K video of a giant craft over Vandenberg, and half the human population will say it's AI,
right,
or created some visual effects program. But someone of note putting their name and reputation on the line, their career on the line, the rest of their lives on the line, to say, this is what I know to be true, to me, that's the greatest evidence that exists. But I do think, to your point, amnesty is something that's going to have to be figured out, because while it's hard for anyone to accept letting people off the hook for wrongdoings, right? It does seem like it's in the best interest of the bigger picture.
100%.
Because these people just aren't good. They have no incentive to come forward with what they've learned. This is not a endeavor to go and punish anyone, but we need to know what they learned.
Right.
And I think he's totally dead on. And,
is he in favor of some sort of an amnesty program as well?
Yeah, he says on camera in the film, he's like, I'm not trying to punish anyone. I need to know what they learned, because taxpayers paid for this, and it's in our interest to know what's going on. But the other thing that's needed is real whistleblower protection. Not the whistleblower protection that's been passed so far. Like much stronger legal protection, so that people like the folks I talked to, the special forces guys I talked to, were going to come forward and then decided they thought to be forfeiting their lives. You've got to change that set of circumstances. You got to make those people feel like that's not going to happen to them. I think a sitting president has to step to the microphone and say, definitively, humanity's not alone in the universe. We have recovered technology of non-human origin. So have other nations. There is a high-stakes secret Cold War race to reverse engineer this technology. We need to win this race, and the U.S. intends to lead in this new chapter. I think that needs to happen, like a level set of basic facts, and I really do think it will happen.
Well, if that is going to happen, I think Trump might be the only guy that's willing to do something crazy.
I think it's very likely that he does that. I know that he is aware of the film. I know he's aware of what people in his administration say.
Has he watched it? You know that?
He has not watched the film, but I know he's very aware of it, and I know that they are discussing internally how they're going to react to the film publicly. And I also know that he has very recently, tasked Tulsi Gabbard with getting to the bottom of the situation and finding out for him what he needs to know that he doesn't know.
Really?
Yeah. And as Rubio said in the film, Rubio says on camera, on the record, on the film, that this has been kept from sitting presidents. And he goes into detail on how that's been done, and how it's the career bureaucrats in certain elements of the government that control this information and just wait presidents out and don't feel like they have a need to know.
Right. Well, there were some people that tried to find information out in the beginning of the Trump administration. Who was it? There was someone that talked about it on record and said he was told at every turn that you don't have the clearance.
Yeah, yeah. But here's the thing. Trump actually found out about the base facts in his last presidency and was contemplating stepping to the microphone then.
What base facts?
So Jay Stratton, who ran the task force, he says on camera in my film that he briefed, that Mnuchin, the Secretary of Treasury, asked for a briefing on the lay of the land because Trump asked him to get the briefing, and Trump had already known that the base facts that we're not alone in the universe, that there's been recovery of crashed craft, right? He knew those base facts. And he told Mnuchin that he was thinking about going public. And so Mnuchin reached out to Stratton to get a briefing. And he told Stratton that the reason he wanted the briefing is because he needed to be able to evaluate what the impact would be to the economy if the president decided to step to the mic and tell the world we're not alone. And Stratton tells the story on camera in the film. So we know Trump contemplated doing this already. Now I think the release of this film and Rubio's involvement puts enough on the table that it makes it easier for him to do.
I think they would have to have some sort of a plan in place if they were going to say that, right? Like the amnesty plan, the idea behind it would have to be in place. If someone's
or at least grab control of the situation and say that this is real and the U.S. intends to lead the way. Because the other factor that the White House has to keep in mind is you don't want Xi or Putin being the guy to do that.
Right.
You don't want them to have that moment, right?
Right.
You know, something I always think about with regards to that moment of a president stepping to the mic. When we entered the space race, Kennedy gave that big famous speech, right? He was like, we're going to lead in space technology, space technology, like nuclear technology, has no conscience of its own. It's up to man to use it for good or bad, and we're going to make sure it's used for the betterment of all mankind, and we're going to lead the way. That was his whole rallying speech, right? And it made the whole scientific community be like, we're going to help the U.S. win, rah, 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 right? I think that's needed in this race. Like, we need all the support of the scientific community, of academia, the kids coming out of MIT. We need them putting their brain power towards this. And I think the White House knows that. And it's also that's the greatest TV moment a leader could have in the history of humanity. Step into the microphone.
Do you think Elon knows?
Look, I've seen him obviously talk to you about it. I think he knows a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think you get the contracts and the clearances you need to operate in space without some horse trading.
Yeah, when I went to SpaceX, I'm like, motherfucker, you know everything. There's no way you're launching these fucking things into space without them keying you in on exactly what's going on. He's just sly about it.
Well,
he goes, well, if they are aliens, they're certainly all subtle. That's what he says. Like, are they really? I don't know, man.
I think it's impossible to operate in space like he does and not be aware of everything. And also at the level he operates clearance-wise. I held a secret screening at the National Space Symposium earlier this year, which is the Super Bowl of the space industry. It's like 60 people, heavy hitters from the space industry. We didn't promote it or publicize it at all, but there were a dozen guys from SpaceX there, and they all seem very aware of everything revealed in the film.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Yeah,
he's my friend, and he won't tell me.
He's a legend.
He keeps a lid on it.
He's a legend.
But how would he not know? If it is, and some people have told me he knows that know he knows some things, so whatever. But the point is, people are good at keeping secrets. That's real.
100%.
Even people that aren't notoriously good at keeping secrets are good at keeping secrets when they have to be.
Do you think if you put yourself, you've interviewed Trump, do you see him doing that, stepping to the mic and telling us the truth?
Someone talks to him about it and convinces him it's a great idea. Like if I had an hour with him.
I mean, it's literally the single, in my opinion, the single greatest moment a leader could have.
Well,
in the history of the world.
If he could be the guy that blows the lid off of it, that would definitely help with his legacy too, which I think would be a good way to convince him. Do you hear about that fucking object that's hurtling towards Earth at like 130,000 miles an hour?
No, that might solve all our problems.
Some intergalactic object that's hurt. There's this guy, Avi Loeb. He's a professor at Harvard that believes it might be an alien probe.
Wow.
And he was talking about the odds of this thing being in the trajectory that it is, entering into our solar system in a direct path with Earth. The odds are extremely low. And at the place where it's doing it, it's when the Earth is the opposite side of the sun, so it's coming from behind the sun. And it's so it makes it difficult to detect. And that this object is in a direct line to come to Earth in 2027.
Why do they think it's an alien satellite or whatever?
Well, there's this guy, Avi Loeb, this professor that I'm discussing. He also had an analysis of another object that passed by Earth a few years back that they named, and they said that this thing had a very bizarre metallic sort of a look to it that he did not think, based on the shape of it and the way it was traveling, that it was natural. So he thought that could have been some sort of an alien craft as well. I don't know. It's too fun. It's too fun.
But
to
as
believe
it
that it's
gets
a
closer,
spaceship.
we could probably decipher.
Scientists give chilling update on mysterious interstellar object racing through our solar system as they warn it's even bigger than we thought. Provide a chilling update on a mysterious interstellar object that's racing through our solar system. Using data from the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, experts have revealed just how big the object dubbed 31 Atlas really is. According to their analysis, the object measures roughly 7 miles in diameter. Holy fuck. How big is New York City? Bigger than Mount Everest, making it the largest interstellar object ever spotted. Professor Avi Loeb, theoretical physicist and cosmologist from Harvard University, suggested the object could be an alien spacecraft. However, not everyone is convinced. Chris Lintott, an astronomer at the University of Oxford, told Live Science any suggestion that it's artificial is nonsense on stilts. He added that these claims are an insult to the exciting work going on to understand this object. But Harvard's legit, and Avi Loeb is a legit astronomer.
Right. I mean, let's not rule anything out.
Yeah.
As it gets closer.
There's something about it, about the way it's traveling, that it's bizarre. But it doesn't have a trail like a comet does.
Right.
We can scroll up a little so I can see that. The images of the comet were actually snapped by the Vera C. Rubin before it was officially discovered. However, since it was identified on July 1st, just a little bit ago, scientists have scoured back through data to find out more about the mysterious object. New study published on RXIV, whatever that is. More than 200 researchers have confirmed the likely size of the comet's main body, known as its nucleus. Their analysis suggests the nucleus has a radius of around 3.5 miles. That translates to a diameter or width of about 7 miles. To put that in perspective, bigger than Mount Everest, twice the size of Mount Kilimanjaro. Oumuamua, discovered in 2017. He came on and talked to us about that. Was believed to be around 0.2 miles wide. And comet Borisov, discovered in 2019, was roughly 0.61 kilometer wide. So this thing is fucking huge. Yeah. So previously speaking to Mail Online, Professor Loeb pointed out that its impressive speed of 130,000 miles per hour as an indication that it might be controlled by aliens. He said it's difficult to imagine a natural process that would favor a plunge towards the inner solar system at 60 kilometers per second, he said. An alternative is that the object targets the inner solar system by some technological design. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Well, hopefully they come in peace.
Well, that might be the end of the Earth. Maybe that's like they realize like that's when AI starts to take over and they think it's chaos. So like that's when it's going to happen. So let's just like launch a 7-mile wide thing into the Earth and just start all over again like the dinosaurs.
Well, that you're saying it hits and then our AI fights it?
No.
Or
it wipes out. The AI takes over and it's like, this isn't going to work. So it wipes it out. Just like when the dinosaurs were here, the dinosaurs were too powerful. And they're like, yeah, let's just fucking start from scratch. Maybe that's how they like reset the game.
Huh. And then, so humanity is wiped out?
Everything's wiped out. Yeah, we start fresh with new organisms. And then they come along and do genetic engineering, just like they did with us and monkeys, and create a new version of humans. But this time it's a little less territorial, a little more inquisitive, a little more interested in innovation, a little less interested in dominating and controlling resources. Because that's what fucked us. Territorial apes get high technology and use territorial behavior to defend and acquire resources, and that creates war. Okay, so this Mexican pilot was flying, and in the middle of his flying, he got confused. He didn't know what the fuck happened. He fell asleep, and he woke up, and he was over the ocean. And he's like, how did I get over the ocean? This doesn't even make any sense. And the amount of gas that was missing from his plane didn't make any sense that he was able to get this far. And what they're saying, and there's a recording of this, is that this guy went into a trance and was channeling some alien intelligence that was explaining through this guy's voice that the human race is the only intelligent race in the universe that still uses war. and still kills people and engages in large-scale conflict and has nuclear weapons, and that they have to stop doing this or that someone's going to step in. It's a crazy story. Play the story.
Someone's going to step in?
Could we play it? Some of it?
I don't know.
Just to give credit to Mr. Ballin?
Well, now I have to find the video. I was looking for that.
Well, everybody should just go to it. If you just tell me how to go to it, I'll just drive people to see it.
His Instagram account with Tom.
But this was a great one. And then there's an actual audio recording of this guy saying this. Here, I'll send you the audio recording, Jamie. If you can't find it real quick. I sent it to Tom. After I saw Tom on the show, I was like, I go, that's fucking crazy, man. And he's like, dude, wild. And then I sent him this. I said, did you know there's an actual recording that you can listen to of the guy saying this? So if you go like halfway into it, you got it? Oh, you got it. Okay. So a certain distance into it, you hear the guy talking in this very bizarre monotone Spanish. Was there a UFO? Like, why did they show that UFO, that fake UFO?
Making a video to watch to keep you interested on YouTube.
Oh, keep me interested. I'll be interested anyway.
Here it is.
Yeah, let me hear it. He is speaking, but he does not know. The equipment is too primitive. This is the only way to convey. Lower that a little. A microphone. The equipment is too primitive. This is the only way to convey their message. After almost an hour, the beings would release the young aviator pilot from his hypnotic state and return control of the plane so that he could receive instructions. And at the same time, he managed to land at the Acapulco airport. Interesting. You know, that's the thing. Like, if there was a unique event where something happened and an alien race did interact with human beings and then never again, no one would believe you, even if it was real. If it was that's the problem with like unique events. We base reality on what we experience and what everybody else experiences on a day-to-day basis,
right?
What we have evidence of. But if something happened that was completely unique like that, where they said, like, this is the only way we can communicate, their equipment is too primitive, we'll just take over this guy's mind and have him say it. Like, who was ever going to believe that?
I guess that's the quote translated.
Okay, the alien message that spoke through Rafael Pacheco Perez to the air traffic controller, it says, he speaks because he is ordered to. That is, it is his voice he speaks, but not of his own free will. We use it as a microphone. No matter who we are or where we come from, it is enough for you to know that we are beings of this universe where you belong. Our planet is many light years away, but we are physically equal. I repeat that all races in the universe are physically equal. You are not alone in the universe, and there are other races that are far away from you, and we are watching you. But he said more than that.
No, for sure.
What is the full extent of his quote? Because he said something about you're the only race that still engages in warfare.
I definitely think there's other life forms out there.
I do
and
too,
they're
but I
more
don't know what
advanced.
really happened.
Yeah.
I really wish I knew. I mean, I really
But this
wish I
guy
knew.
did fall asleep while he was flying a plane, so can we really trust him?
Right, and he did wake up over the ocean. But if he did wake up over the ocean, it doesn't make sense that he got over the ocean, if that's true.
Right.
Explain that. Like, how did he get there?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Did you take over the plane, move it with your spaceship? Or why'd you put him over the ocean? So if he crashed, he wouldn't kill anybody?
Right.
Why'd you do that? Like, what is all this?
And what's the thing with the gas being gone?
Right. Because I guess they, like, picked it up and took it.
Huh.
I don't know. We are watching you. What else does it say? To everyone's surprise. Issued a certificate stating he was in perfect health and had not consumed any drugs. It ruined his career, and he never piloted a plane again. Wow.
This is his first solo flight, too.
Whoa.
No, I don't know if I believe that account, but I do believe that there's other life forms out there.
My problem is I want to believe that account. That's always the problem with all these things. I want to believe. I want to believe so bad that I don't think about them rationally sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, these stories are all, it's like whether you trust the source or not, but
what would
the
you
universe
do,
is the universe is too big for us to be the only ones here.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't care that Mars doesn't have any water. Maybe they don't need water.
Well, they think Mars used to have a full atmosphere. And do you know that there's structures on Mars that they've observed even recently that look like perfect squares that are huge?
Huh.
There's this one that I showed to Elon. I go, what is that? Tell me what do you think that is? Like, well, we should probably go there and look around. Like, yeah, we should probably go there and look around.
He's the guy to do it.
But what is, like, he didn't want to say what he thought it was, but I'm looking at him like, do you think this could have been at one point in time a structure? Because it has perfect right angles and it's a square and it's huge.
Right.
They said it's at least hundreds of meters across, but it might be miles across. It's rough estimates, but they know it's large. You ever seen it? Jamie will show it to you. But it's like a literal square. There's a bunch of shit that's weird there. That's like the face on Mars, but I'm not totally convinced about that. But that one's nuts. Like, that's kind of crazy. Didn't that look kind of crazy?
It's on the right?
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That looks like a fucking square.
Oh, yeah, that looks like a foundation.
I mean, tell me what the fuck that is. What is that?
Right.
That does not look normal. Those angles don't look normal at all. That lower left-hand corner, like, what is that? And then the fact that it's roughly a square. I mean, I don't know if it's a square or a rectangle. It seems like it's a little taller than it is wide.
Right.
But whatever it is, it looks like a fucking structure, man.
Well, just because we can't exist there doesn't mean other life forms can't exist there.
Or other life forms used to exist there.
Right.
Like, imagine if there was, like, if there's life on Earth right now, today, and if Mars at one point in time had a sustainable atmosphere, like millions and millions of years ago, what if there was life on Mars? What if we are the offspring of the life on Mars? What if those fucking guys just realized, like, hey, this place is falling apart. Let's shoot over to Earth and reestablish.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be why we're so different than every other primate that's here.
I never thought about it like that. That might be true. I just think it's so vast and we know so little about everything, it's possible. That's just, I kind of like broaden it that way, where it's like, it's all possible. The universe is infinite and we know very little about it.
Yeah, it's totally possible.
Yeah.
It's just not likely. I mean, it seems, because you haven't seen anything. Like, it's not likely.
But we're trying to use our logical brains to figure out. It's like, could this be possible? It's like, there's so much we don't know. And we have such a limited scope with our human minds to even comprehend stuff. So it's like, I don't know.
I believe it's possible.
I'm obsessed.
Are you?
So really weird side hobby of mine, I go ghost hunting. I've been like around the world.
Wow.
Yeah. It's incredible.
What have you experienced? Have you ever had like an absolute moment where you're like, oh my God, I'm in the presence of a poltergeist?
Still not 1,000%. I've definitely witnessed things that I cannot for the life of me explain, that have creeped me out. The timing has been impeccable. I've seen things move that there's just no fucking way that they've moved. I've gotten answers back on EVPs, but for me, it is one of those things I do need to see it.
Isn't an EVP like a radio, though?
No, EVP is just a recorder.
It's a recorder. What's that radio thing? I'm sorry, then. What is the one where they like listen?
There's a bunch of different names.
My daughter's heavily into this shit.
What does she watch?
Heavily. Sam and Colby.
You had them on, right?
Yes.
So I met these other guys. There's another channel called the Overnight Channel who are equally as popular as Sam and Colby, and they actually used to work together. And I believe they split off into each do their own thing. But that's who I started going with, so I'm very familiar with those guys.
So these kids, the Sam and Colby guys just went into the Conjuring house.
I was just there, maybe a month and a half ago.
You went into the Conjuring house
by
too?
myself, Joe.
Okay. Do you believe that there's something going on in that house? The Conjuring movies are fucking great.
It's my favorite franchise.
They're fun. And there's so many of them. They really did it right. Like, if you want to be smart, they branched off with The Nun. They branched off with Annabelle.
And I love the way they tie in the story from each one to make it all one chronological story. It's genius.
Yeah.
I will say I wasn't as scared as I've been in a lot of places we've been. There is some kind of solace to the house. But you get to know the history of it, and it does make sense that there would be something here. I mean, it's on some ley lines of water underground. There was wars fought there. There's apparently bodies buried on the property in the walls of the property structures and stuff. There's a lot of history that goes into it that just makes for kind of the perfect storm for some creepy shit. But I didn't witness anything that was that insane. Some items moved. Some cars rolled off of the children's dressers a couple of times on cue. And that's the one thing I do pride ourselves in these videos is so often we get absolutely nothing because we don't fake anything. So you only get to see the highlights. Like, there's so many times we'll go to a place that is so notoriously haunted and we'll be there for 10 hours and get absolutely nothing. And it sucks. But that makes when something does happen that much more valuable. It's so much more impressive.
What do you think? So, do you think a ghost is like the soul of a person that's left behind? Or do you think the ghost is almost like space and time because of a horrible incident contain a memory? And like that memory is almost like it like shows up in current time sometimes. There's a guy named Rupert Sheldrake. I forget what his field of study is, but he had this theory about things, and he believes that objects contain memories.
Oh, interesting.
And he's not the only one that has
Inanimate
this.
objects?
Yeah, that things contain memories. And this is one of the reasons why like people kind of universally support this idea that if someone was murdered in a house, you must tell the people, inform the people that are about to buy it. You have to tell them, hey, somebody got murdered in this house. Like maybe you don't want to buy this house.
Now
Maybe you should think about it.
does the potential owner have to ask that information?
It's a good question.
I'd want to know.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think they should have to inform you because there's something about someone being murdered in a spot that freaks us out. And this is my question. How you knew the conjured house was haunted, right? So you go there with this feeling and this expectation. That's what I always wonder about these things. Like how much of this isn't just imagining things. This is like the mind itself seems to have some unmeasured effect on the world.
Yeah.
I think the way you think has an unmeasured effect in terms of like this. There's energy that you put out. There's connections you make with people. They're very, very unmeasured.
And you can manifest your own perception of things for sure.
Yeah. So what my concern is like if you go into a place with a pre-existing knowledge of ghosts, like you think ghosts are here, you think ghosts are real, you have this thought in your mind that you maybe experience a ghost in this place that's haunted. You're at this elevated level of anticipation. You're probably really nervous and kind of freaked out, and your imagination starts firing up. And I'm not even saying that these people are lying or that they're seeing things that aren't there. I'm saying maybe you make things show up. Maybe you see memories. Maybe you experience some horrible energy that existed in this spot 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that there's like ways you can tune into that.
I could see that being possible, but to me, that's what's so exciting about it is like you go hoping for those solidified answers. You're going hoping to witness something that you couldn't have possibly made up.
But you know why I think that, too? Is like you never see them in the daytime. Ghosts don't exist on the street.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but not outside.
They're never outside. That's a very good point.
That's my point, is like you're always trapped. So you're always in this like weird space. Like if you had a wolf in your house, you'd be freaked out. You'd want to get outside.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want a wolf in the it's a fucking wolf in the house.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in a contained area, your brain has this heightened sense of like being trapped and awareness and how to escape. I mean, every horror movie's the same. When you got to get to the door, right? Everybody's trying to fumble with the keys and the monster's chasing them and they get it just in time, right? That is a reoccurring theme in the human mind. If you're trapped in a fucking house with a killer or a ghost or a wolf, it's scary.
You know where that makes the most sense? We did the USS Hornet up in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And we had the whole ship to ourselves, which I was so excited about because I love military stuff. I love history. I was so excited to go there and just witness it. And they sent me by myself on basically a game of hide and seek where I had to go find them in the ship somewhere after I had to count to 100 by myself. It was the most terrifying place I've ever been because if you've never been in like the bowel of a ship, it's so unfamiliar. Like doorways don't look the same. You have to step over them and everything. There's so many pipes and everything sticking out. It's such an unfamiliar environment, especially in the dark. It's terrifying. You think I can't possibly run away from something in here. There's too many obstacles. You don't know if that's a wall or a pipe or something peeking around to like look at you. It's fucking terrifying because of exactly that. You feel so trapped.
What are your thoughts on alien life, on life outside of this planet? Is this something you think about?
Yeah, I think there must be. Even in the solar system, I would not be surprised if we find microbes on Mars or on some of the moons of Jupiter or Saturn where there's liquid water.
Like Europa.
Yeah. And the reason is, that if you think about, the reason I think that, and it's a guess, is because if you look at the history of life on Earth, then, so Earth formed and it was just there was no life. It was a ball of rock. And almost as soon as it cooled down, we see evidence of life. So certainly 3.8 billion years ago, possibly even further back than that, we see evidence of life on Earth. So somewhere along the line, geochemistry, active geochemistry became biochemistry on Earth. And we have some idea, that if you get gradients of temperature and acid and alkaline and the conditions that are naturally present on the surface of oceans, then complex carbon chemistry spontaneously happens. So we know that life, almost certainly we know that life began on Earth. I mean, the other option is it came from space or something like that, but it probably didn't. Right? It probably began on Earth. So that means that at least here, that happened. And that we know that the conditions that led to the origin of life on Earth were present on Mars 4 billion years ago. And we know that they're present on Europa today. So I don't see that there's anything special. Life is just chemistry. And the idea that geochemistry becomes biochemistry is not fanciful because it happened here. So I think that given the same conditions, it would be surprising to me if the same thing didn't happen, in that life begins. So that's one of the, to test that is one of the great frontiers of science now. It's one of the great challenges, which is why, another reason we're interested in Mars, because we know those conditions were there. We know there were what's called hydrothermal vent systems on the floors of oceans on Mars 3.8 or 4 billion years ago. So it would be good to know if what I've said is right. And the way we find out is to find life or evidence of past life.
Are you aware of the speculation that was going around? How recent was it, that Occupy thing, the octopus eggs? There was a group of scientists that were speculating that it's panspermia, the idea of panspermia, that it's possible that octopi had come from somewhere else. Some frozen eggs had actually come from somewhere else and landed on Earth. And these were like legitimate scientists that were contemplating it, not morons.
I don't think...
Have you seen this?
No, I didn't. But I mean, I think it's unlikely. So panspermia doesn't have to be unlikely.
Right.
I mean, for example, you might have seen the other day we found an Earth rock on the moon.
Yes.
Right. Well, it was back on Earth now because the Apollo astronauts brought it back, didn't they? It's 4 billion years old or something like that.
One of the oldest rocks ever found.
Yeah.
Right.
So we know that material gets transferred between planets. And so it's not inconceivable that microbes could survive that journey. Right. We know that microbes can survive in space, for example. So that isn't mad. It's probably unlikely, but it's not mad. But with the octopus, I hadn't heard that. But the thing is that the octopus is still extremely similar biologically to us. I mean, the differences are negligible.
Yeah.
So it's still got the same energy system with the things like ATP and DNA and all that stuff. It's all very, very similar.
It was something about RNA and DNA. Did you find that article?
I'm looking at a different one from a different website. It's about the same thing. It has to do with the Cambrian explosion. And there were 33 authors on a paper that got published in the Progress in Biophysics and Molecular Biology that talked about this possibility. There are other people that disagree with it, though.
Right.
I mean, I suppose I haven't seen it. So I think it's unlikely because the octopus is extremely similar to us. So that suggests a common origin to me. That I suppose the counter argument you could advance would be there's only one way to do life. So you could say that actually, because the laws of physics and chemistry are the same everywhere. So maybe DNA is the only way to do it. So that's the way it gets done.
Which is why they're so similar to us.
Yeah,
although so alien as well.
Yeah, they're not, though. That's the thing about an octopus. That's why I'm surprised about it, because they're not that alien. They're very similar.
Well, they are in their abilities. I mean, their ability to transform their outer texture and their color almost instantaneously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they have incredible camouflage abilities that really don't exist in the mammalian world.
Yeah, but on a cellular level, you look at an octopus cell under a microscope, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Right.
between an octopus cell and a human cell.
So the only way that would make sense is if all life comes from basically the same kind of building blocks and just varies depending upon the conditions and where it takes place.
I'm guessing, but yes, that must be the only way you could sustain that, given that they're so similar to us, because they really are, biochemically, is that's the only way it can be done, given the building block, the toolkit, the laws of nature, and the elements and so on that we have in our universe.
We have so many different life forms on our planet, but if we found anything that's remotely similar to what we have here on Earth on another planet, it would be such an incredible discovery. Like if we found a frog on the moon, I mean, the world would stop, right?
I'd be very surprised if we found a frog on the moon.
But I mean, if we found anything anywhere that is in any way similar, an insect on Mars.
Well, this is, I mean, as I say, it'd be micro. I think it'd be single-celled things. Remember, I mean, you mentioned the Cambrian explosion. So that is what we do know about Earth is that although life began, let's say, 3.8 billion years ago, it wasn't until around 600 million years ago or so, or maybe at most 700, that you see any complex multicellular organisms at all. So for something like 3 billion years, it was single-celled alone. And that's one of the reasons why I would guess, if I had to guess, I would say that microbes would be common because life began very quickly on Earth. And I wouldn't be surprised if we find it on Mars. But complex life, multicellular life, insects, plants, intelligence, I would guess would be very rare because it took so long on Earth to get there.
My stepfather, who's like a very like sober thinking, like rational person, went to Gettysburg and he said, you can feel the sadness.
Yeah.
He goes, it just feels horrible. Like you're there and you feel death. He goes, I've never felt anything like that. Like you're at a battleground and, you know, even though it's 200 years ago or whatever it was, less than 200 years ago, you feel it. He goes, you can feel it. He goes, I had to get out of there.
Yeah, that's the thing with some of these places. It's not necessarily like, immediately you're just like, oh yeah, this is spiritual energy or whatever like that, but it's just heavy. Or it's just like you feel off when you go into these places. Like as soon as you stepped into the Conjuring house, have you ever seen the Conjuring movies?
Yes.
So they're actually based on a real house in Rhode Island. And that was one of those places that we had walked into, and you were like almost getting nauseous.
I almost threw up, and I'm not. So what's interesting about the paranormal and what we've learned the past 4 years is that it affects people differently. Some people can see stuff. Some people claim they're mediums and can communicate more. I feel like I have more of like an empathic, like almost like I just feel worse like whenever there's something around. And so when we first walked into the Conjuring house, like there was a point where I thought I was going to throw up, and I was looking for exits.
What's the real story behind the Conjuring house? What's the actual story?
So, yeah, the movie story is like this witch, Bathsheba or whatever. But the actual story, there's a bunch of different things that they say are haunted, but it's actually built on the grounds of the...
Is that the house?
That's
yeah, it's creepy.
House.
It's an amazing house.
The state that launched the Conjuring universe.
There we go. Yeah.
Like, what is like the Marvel Comics universe? What does that mean? The Conjuring universe? How weird.
Oh, jeez.
That's the problem. Like, people, when you start making an industry out of something.
Or just do a business.
Yeah, so what's the original story?
So the most famous we'll get to, but like it's built on the same grounds that the King Philip's War was fought on, like right at the beginning of the United States and everything. So the main people that haunt it are like 7 dead soldiers that this little girl always kept seeing in the walls, and thus it started manifesting more to the entire family. So this family called the Perrin family bought the place in like I think 1972, and for 10 years they said they would see these figures, these soldiers walking around, like their beds would shake, they would get scratches, and it kept getting worse over the 10 years. And the crazy part is it got to become famous because of like the final day that changed it all. They wanted to do like an exorcism on the house because I think who was the mom Perrin? Whatever.
Caroline or something?
Carolyn Perrin. Yeah, Carolyn Perrin was getting really bad. Like she would have things happen to her every single day. Furniture would move, all these sort of things. She was getting really rash with everything. So she brought in these demonologists who were
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Ed and Lorraine
if you've
Warren.
heard of them before. They're like the demonologists, the paranormal investigators. They are like the fathers of it all.
Yeah. Maybe I have heard of them. Are they featured in the Zach Bagans
yes.
Museum?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I've heard of them.
Yeah, which is also a crazy place. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so anyway.
I just went.
Really?
You just went?
I just went a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, my daughter dragged me to that, too.
Hey, there we go. Vegas. Yeah, so they were doing this, like, exorcism, and...
That's them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's those folks. Okay,
and
so they do an exorcism there.
They were doing an exorcism, and I don't know exactly prior to whatever happened, why they called it. She was just having a bad time, just like, over the last couple of years, and they wanted it to end. And to her claim, she was actually thrown like across the entire like room and smashed into a wall to where she had injuries. And they were so angry about that they actually kicked out the demonologist.
They punched Ed in the face.
Yeah, they punched that guy in the face because they thought he was the guy that was like making it worse. But I think it just like pissed him off. And so that thing.
When you say they punched him in the face, you mean the ghost punched him in the face?
No. The Perrin family.
The dad did.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Perrin family was like...
They're getting assaulted?
The Perrin family, was like really
They punched
upset.
him in the face because he thought that he threw the wife across the room? Or he was responsible
he thought
for it?
They made it, or he was there, and like the exorcism that he was conducting made it more angry, which in turn hurt his wife.
Oh, so he got angry.
He was like, "Stop doing this!"
Brought him
Punched
in.
him.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's like hiring a priest
Sell
and
the
then
house,
punching
bro.
a priest.
Right.
Move.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Move down the street.
Punching people.
Come on.
So the Perrin family actually wrote a book about that, and
Really?
they say the Conjuring movies actually don't do it justice of all the things that happened and all the movements and the craziness that happened in that 10 years that they lived there. They were
Really?
like, in the real life, actually experiencing it and the trauma that they went through, they say it's like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Than
And so they feel like it was dead soldiers, like murdered soldiers on the battlefield. Somehow or another, that's...
Well, here's where it gets interesting is they don't know what it is, but they believe it is something more evil or demonic, whatever you believe in, that is like controlling all of these like soldiers and stuff and trapping them. Movie goes with that's a person named Bathsheba who was like a neighbor who everybody just thought was a witch. But in real life, it was just known as a demonic possession, but no trace back of like what it was.
That's an interesting thing, right? Like, because that's in a lot of these cases. They feel like it's not just ghosts, but it's ghosts that are being controlled by some sort of a demonic entity.
Right.
And the demonic entity keeps these ghosts there, which is like another layer of belief you have to have.
Exactly.
Like, you don't just believe that maybe when people die, their energy gets left behind, and then maybe that energy gets controlled by demons.
Exactly.
Like, oh my God.
It's
now
like another level.
We're so into crazy now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm willing to go there.
It gets meta. It gets very meta.
But if you did encounter a demon, nobody would fucking believe you. And then you would be trapped. You would be this person who for the rest of your life, there goes Bob and his fucking demon stories.
Yeah.
Like no one would buy it. But
exactly. Same thing with aliens or anything. Like anything you see that are outside of this like logical
physical world.
Normal daily encounters. Yeah. Anything outside of that. Bigfoot. Anything. Anything where you see things. And there's been many times that people have seen things that they swear were real. And you go, God, that poor fuck. I would rather not see those things and then just have everybody just looking at you. Oh, here comes Mike with his wacky ideas.